We already asked who could take that big leap this season. Now we're going to discuss who could take the step back, plus who's going to participate in the closing lineup this year. That's all today on Locked On Hornets.
Locked On Hornets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
In a minute, cuz we live.
It's Locked On Hornets, a part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. We're free and available anywhere you get your podcast. That includes YouTube, by the way. Also, we appreciate BetOnline. Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. They have you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. Doug, this episode is the exact antithesis of what we did yesterday. We said, who's going to take a big leap?
Antithesis. What's that mean?
Yeah, Oppo. Maybe you wanted me to say it's the Oppo episode. Wait, get antithesis out here. Who cares about that? Today is the Oppo episode from what we did yesterday.
Oppo Friday.
We said who's going to take a big leap and who's going to be the projected starting lineup. Today, we're going to dive into who could take a step back. I don't know. Nobody says a leap back or a bound back. Do we want to go leap back in this one, or just
this is gonna? No, you just take a little step back. It's not, yeah, you know.
Okay, James
now that'd be
Harden
an interesting question. Who's the most likely Hornet to take a step back shot? Who you got?
LaMelo.
Step back jumper.
LaMelo. LaMelo's the guy when he starts to get saucy with his stationary handles. Yeah, he's chucking it. Like you can tell when he's hell bent on shooting a shot.
Yeah, because he can really move defenders. Yeah, I think LaMelo. Yeah, if you were say fadeaway, I think you got to go Terry Rozier. Terry Rozier's got the fadeaway shot, I think, on lock. But the step back, yeah, LaMelo, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. We'll also discuss the closing lineup. Always be closing. Who is that group of players?
What movie? What movie? Do you know the movie? Always be closing.
I know the
ABC.
Phrase.
Yeah, all right, because the phrase has entered the consciousness. Well, it really was. It was it was a movie, but before it was a movie, it was a play. Glenn Ross. It's the name of the play and the movie. Always be closing was said by Alec Baldwin's character in that movie.
Okay, that makes more. I mean, never, ever, ever would have gotten that. How old is that?
Ooh, that would have been the 90s. Yeah, great movie.
Okay,
you should go check it out.
bad.
Great movie. It set the record, as a little trivia for you. I think it set the record at the time for most F-bombs in a movie. It was sort of the Wire version of a movie. Alec Baldwin, Al Pacino, Jack Lemmon. Is it Jack Lemmon? I think that's right. And Kevin Spacey. We don't talk about Kevin Spacey anymore, but Kevin Spacey was
Shunned.
At the height of his career. So yes, star-studded movie. Glenn Ross.
All right, I'll let everybody else go Google that.
And that's the show, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. Thanks for making us your first listen every single
summer.
day.
It's the summer. I love talking about this random stuff during the summer.
Have a great day, and we'll be back with you tomorrow. No, we're let's dive into who's actually going to take a step back here, Doug. I thought it's not something we've talked about. It's all about how do the Hornets improve, because they didn't do anything, because they lost Miles Bridges or they didn't lose him, but we don't assume that he'll play. And they they only brought back Cody Martin. They basically remained the same instead of bringing anybody new into the fold outside of the NBA draft. So who is somebody that could take that step back? Trying to think about it, I almost came up with a skill set from a certain player more so than just an overall player. Man, I really think he's going to struggle this season. Yeah, I did. I took the easy way out. But Cody Martin's shooting was so much a part of why we thought he improved. And if you look at it, you can kind of split his season in half too and say the first half he shot really well. He was among the league leaders. Remember how crazy his shooting numbers were. He was he was leading the NBA among a minimum amount of attempts taken. And then in the second half, I think he shot like 34, something like that. It wasn't great. It wasn't atrocious, but it wasn't great. I don't think Cody shoots as well this year, and therefore maybe we view his offense as not as good. Now, I know that's very result-driven, not process-driven, but the fact that a lot of those shots went in, I do think that he's not going to hit at the same clip. Still is going to be a good cutter, still is going to play hard on defense, right? I don't expect that to slip, but I do think the shooting is going to go down this year.
So you think, that was an aberration kind of year.
A little bit outlierish, yeah.
Yeah, something clicked. and all of a sudden it's not going to click. I feel you on that.
I hope
although
I'm wrong,
I think,
by the way.
I think Cody's not the type of player that would get the bag, get the big contract, and then suddenly fade away.
No.
I mean, I think he's gonna keep it on lock. I could see that, but I don't think that's going to happen. My player that I would actually look at would be Terry Rozier. I'm going to do a little screen share here. I want to look at his numbers on Cleaning the Glass, a website that kind of takes away garbage minutes and does some interesting things here. But the visualizations are what I love the most. So if you look at his, before he joined Charlotte, back in his Boston days, his usage percentage was about average for his position, but his points per shot attempt were in the toilet. He was the 38th percentile in 17-18, and then 18-19, the 31st percentile in terms of points per shot attempt. When he comes to the Hornet, and that's why I'm sure, Walker, that a lot of fans, this is the reason why a lot of fans were hemming and hawing when the Hornets let Kemba go and then did this sign and trade maneuver.
How about hemming and hawing? Yeah,
to bring in Terry Rozier, because like that these points per shot attempt numbers were extremely inefficient. But then he comes to the Charlotte Hornets, his usage goes way up and his points per shot attempt go way up. 77th percentile. He goes from 101.2 to 112.5. Talk about a leap and a bound. That is a huge leap and a bound in terms of your ability to knock down shots at an efficient rate. And it's mostly stayed right there. It actually went up to 116 the next season and then came back down just a little bit to 114. But he's remained very consistent. And my question would be, how long is that going to hold up, number one? Number two, when does LaMelo's ascension start to eat into the ability for Terry Rozier to get enough offense? When does that, because we haven't seen that conflict yet, but I think it's brewing, because I think I can't envision this team having an all NBA level LaMelo and an all-star level Terry Rozier. I don't think that's going to happen. I think more likely you have all NBA level LaMelo Ball and you have Terry Rozier taking a step back.
I mean, even if Terry stayed right where he is right now, that's because he's not all-star level right now, right? So like, yeah, I don't see that either.
Hornets tried to push him, but no, he wasn't.
No, no, I mean, he's.
By the way, can we talk about that for a second? You know, this is summer. We're kind of going off on tangents all over the place. So, like,
okay,
okay, fine. I'm going off on a few tangents. I would just like to address the organization, if I can. Actually, can we? Producer, can we bring the camera in close?
Wow, what is going? Okay, all right, take the floor.
Thank you.
What's going on?
Can we just focus on one player for the All-Star push this season? I get it. You want to spread the love. You want there to be this cohesion. I understand. But can we just get serious and just if we really feel like there's one particular player, I don't know, maybe LaMelo Ball, that is in All-Star contention, can we just take all of the lights and shine it on that player? I think it would be best. That's all I'm asking for. And now I will cede the floor back to my. What are you taking a break? Taking a break on me? You looking at your phone?
Oh, what?
You're not listening to what I'm saying?
What happened? What happened? I need to use the bathroom. I just decided to take a little bit of time there. No, you're good. Yeah, I'm sure it was great. Very compelling. Yeah, no, it is weird. Yeah, you do need to just go ahead and focus on LaMelo's All-Star bid because Terry's not going to get that. And I think, so that's why I don't think he needs to take a step back. Part of the reason is LaMelo's always going to be a facilitator. And when you're playing with LaMelo and he actually does really well with another scoring player in the backcourt, I think he's just always going to set up Terry. And Terry's a good enough shooter to where I think that those stats are going to remain the same. I don't expect him to be an all-star. He's never been one, and I don't expect that to take place. And I understand the overall point. I also wonder how much Miles Bridges being out is also going to deter what you talked about happening. So, okay, like when we're trying to balance the scale with all these different ideas going on either end, how much does Miles Bridges being out actually rise the ability of one Terry Rozier, or ask at least the responsibility of one Terry Rozier? So I think that kind of throws a wrench in these preseason predictions with some of these players.
No, I feel you. But I'm going to stick with it. I see.
No, that's fine.
I understand all of your good points. I'm going to ignore them and stick with my prediction.
Gotcha. Dude, that's radio. You did it.
Yeah.
Come with me, Doug. Join me on FNZ.
I'm ready.
Yeah. Nice job. You graduated.
Yep.
Move that tassel from the right to the left. One interesting thing Josh Lloyd did talk about, too, in the Locked On Fantasy Basketball appearance, I thought this was interesting. We haven't really talked about it, but we were talking about the step up, and he said maybe Gordon Hayward. And so that sounds ridiculous on the
you
surface.
mean in the last episode we were talking about the leap? You said he
Yeah.
was saying Gordon Hayward for the leap?
He was saying Gordon Hayward, and really it all comes down to Miles being out. And plus the fact that it's not like Gordon Hayward was extremely healthy last season. So if you see a future, you see a season of him playing 60 games, that's better. Do you see him making more shots because he's taking more shots because you don't have your leading scorer on the team? That's going to be better. The efficiency still stays the same. Yeah, like maybe it's a sneaky answer where people are going to be angry upon hearing it, but it might just happen because of what's taking place with the Hornets offseason.
Well, you saw at the beginning of last season, LaMelo picked right back up where he left off, and then Miles, his numbers and his offensive involvement went through the roof. And the one player that decided to take a little bit of a step back was Gordon. He was pretty quiet at the beginning of that season. And so I think there's plenty of license. If Gordon is fully healthy and ready to go, there's going to be plenty of license for him to be as involved in the offense as possible. I'll also say this. I think we should throw away. Actually, can we bring the camera in close? I've got one more thing to say. Actually,
no, you didn't get enough FaceTime. Go ahead.
Charlotte Hornets, can we not talk about load managing Gordon Hayward? Okay. He's making a lot of money. You tried it. It didn't work. I don't want to hear anything.
No,
about
they didn't try it. No, I will stop your FaceTime. They did not try it. They said they would, and then they abandoned that plan.
Well, then let's not talk about it. Well, let's not talk about it anymore because he's making. I don't want to load manage Gordon Hayward. I want to ride Gordon Hayward for every single cent dollar that he is making as a member of the Charlotte Hornets. I want to squeeze as much of that Gordon juice as possible until this team wins a play-in game. I don't want to hear.
Violent.
I do not want to hear a single thing about load management until this team can lose a play-in game by 2 points, not 20. Now I'm ready for
coming
radio.
up next.
Am I going to be on WFNZ now? Did I win?
Can you send me that soundbite over, and then I'll put it on the radio, and then we'll just hear people call.
I'm too dangerous for radio. That radio, they don't want me. I'm too dangerous.
You are too dangerous for radio. You're too dangerous for this podcast. All right, coming up next on the Locked On Hornets podcast.
Don't go to sleep on the Hornets just yet.
We're going to discuss the always be closing lineup. Talked about the starting lineup yesterday. We're going to see who is going to be finishing these games for Steve Clifford this season. BetOnline.net is the fastest and the easiest way to check in on all your betting needs. You can find all your favorite sports and events at the #1 online source for odds, lines, and games. You can find reviews and news of every league. That includes Major League Baseball, the NFL, the NBA, the NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sport wagering information from live in-game betting, scores, and podcasts. They have you covered. Head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to learn more about the action all happening today. BetOnline, where the game starts. More FaceTime for Doug, more Alec Baldwin quotes, all next. Locked On Hornets.
You are listening to the Locked On Hornets podcast.
David,
The show's barely been on.
how are these injuries going to affect the Hornets' ability to beat the Miami Heat? I'm going to go get some more buttermilk while you talk about that.
Get more Hornets analysis on LockedOnHornets.com.
I want to finish that, Gordon. You're thinking. What are you thinking about, Doug? You are tapping your chin.
Honestly,
that is the.
Yeah, no, honestly, I wasn't thinking about anything. Sometimes when we come back from break, I just want to look like I'm thinking about something. I really just kind of strike a pose when we come out of the break, and I really wasn't thinking about anything.
Yeah, I just usually don't call you out, and this time I did, and it didn't work out.
It's true.
So well.
You called my thinking bluff.
Really, you're not. You're just tapping your chin. You're just feeling what the chiseled butt chin indent looks like. That's what you're trying to feel.
You can't see
now.
it. It's hidden in the beard. The beard is back, by the way. Yeah,
we did when you shaved it.
Yeah, I did. I shaved it. I'm not going to do that again. But yeah, there is a little bit of a chisel right here. Now, yeah, I eat too much. I eat too many ice cream bars for it to be chiseled. But I do have a little bit of a butt chin.
Oh, I ate a Klondike bar for the first time in like 10 years the other day. So worth it. It was
what
so
would
good.
You do? One
A
of the
lot.
best ice
I would do a lot.
cream commercial ideas. Whoever did that,
Yeah.
hopefully it's not one of those stories where like the person that comes up with a great idea
are they now?
was languishing. They didn't make any money off of it. They were just like, it was just like somebody's buddy that was like somebody who worked for Klondike was like, hey, it'd be a good idea. And that person's like penniless. But I hope it's not like that. I hope whoever came up with the Klondike, what would you do for a Klondike bar? I hope they are very rich.
Do you miss the Choco Taco?
I never ate Choco Taco. That's such an internet thing. That's people moaning about the Choco Taco who have never once in their life eaten a Choco Taco. I've never eaten a Choco Taco, so I'm not going to go online and be like, oh my God, the Choco Taco. Choco Taco Fall. It's summer, baby.
I wanted to finish up your Gordon Hayward point because we did have this debate already. It was a fun Friday, and it was before Miles Bridges turned himself in to be arrested for that felony domestic violence charge. I mean, before that, we were discussing the load management idea for Gordon Hayward. I was for it. I think David was for it too, if I'm not mistaken, because they came in. Borrego said, yeah, we're going to take it easy a little bit. And then Gordon just played more minutes than anybody. And I get the idea from what they were thinking. They feel like they were better with him on the court, and that's true. Like Gordon, I know people hate it, but Gordon was one of the better players on this team. Not better than LaMelo, despite what Mitch Kupchak said.
Not the best player.
We do know. Yeah, right. Not what Mitch Kupchak said, but Gordon is certainly one of their better players and needed to see the floor when he was playing a decent amount. But then they played him more than anybody, and they refused to sit him or go with that load management plan. And what happens? He gets hurt again, and you have to go the entire half of the season without Gordon Hayward. Like it happened 2 years in a row. We've seen him get injured before. Now I think the calculus has changed so much because instead of having Miles Bridges help you out at that 3 spot, like Jalen McDaniels, I like, but clearly not as good as Gordon Hayward when he's healthy and not going to be as good as a Miles Bridges out there. Man, Doug, now I think we are coming a little bit closer to your idea of what do you do? Like, I think there needs to be some kind of happy medium. How about he doesn't lead the team in minutes? We can save him a little bit. But yeah, that probably is compromised even more so this year.
I'll tell you, Walker, exactly what you should do. In fact, bring the camera in close again, please.
Yeah, get some FaceTime real quickly.
Thank you. Here's exactly what you do. You play him as many minutes as it takes to win these basketball games. Steve Clifford, I don't need to tell Steve Clifford that. He's going to.
How many minutes is that? Is that 48?
It's all of them. Every single one. In fact, he needs to play 57 minutes somehow. He needs to take other players' minutes. So they need to play him and 3 other guys.
When the game is over, I want you doing drills. Yeah.
And here's why. Because you have to roll the dice at this point and hope that Gordon Hayward turns in a career year heading into the trade deadline, and you're able to flip Gordon Hayward because you haven't been able to do it so far. You haven't been able to trade Gordon so far. So I think at this point you ride it and hope he's good enough where you can trade him. All right, Walker, you can come back.
Hold on a second. No, good FaceTime for sure. Yeah, so no, I'm with you. Yeah, like from what I heard, like the first 10 seconds, yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how that is compromised. All right, we talked about the starting lineup. Let's get to the finishing lineup. Always be closing, as one Alec Baldwin said. Who do you think is going to be the closing lineup this year? I'll let you go. I'll let you put your predictions because this is your spreadsheet.
Well, yeah, so I'm gonna go up here and copy LaMelo Ball into the point guard position. I think this
is a spreadsheet tutorial.
Yeah, that's the little command C. I'm on a Mac here. Little command C, little command V. LaMelo Ball into the point guard position. Big wise. This is where it gets interesting to me. I'm gonna skip down to the big.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say they close with probably PJ.
I agree.
At the center position. I'm going to come up here and steal Cody Martin, who got some closing lineups last season. I'm going to put him in a wing position.
Okay. Now, you're going with the interesting stuff first. So,
well, go ahead and stop me. Go ahead and talk about what I'm doing. Talk about what I'm doing here. I've got LaMelo, I've got Cody, and I've got PJ.
Okay, go ahead.
And by the way, I think closing lineups, this ABC lineup always be closing, is more important than the starting lineup if your team's competitive. Now, if you're not in contention for anything, then whatever. We're always going to talk about who the starters are because there's just such a prestige that goes along with that. It's kind of like max contracts. There's such a prestige that goes with getting a max contract. There's a prestige that comes along with starting. But honestly, this closing lineup is one of the more important things. So I'm going to go with Cody Martin. What do you think here? What do you think about what I got so far?
Well, yeah, Cody's going to be interesting. I think you're not going to take Terry Rozier off of the floor, so you probably should just go ahead and put him at the 2.
I was going to, but I wasn't doing this because you were asking me to. I was already going to do this. Yes, Terry Rozier.
I was going to do it anyway. Yeah,
all right,
Gordon
so now
Hayward.
we have one position left for the always be closing lineup. It's that second big position. I know who I'm putting in there. Who do you want to put in there?
Okay. Well, if you're going to play Gordon Hayward 57 minutes, then it better be Gordon Hayward.
You got to go with Gordon in this closing lineup. I mean, because he's a player that can score on all 3 levels. He's been shooting the ball really well the past couple of seasons. He can spread the floor. He can pass it. He can hit mid-range jump shots. He can hit tough shots. If you're talking about late in the season, defenses are starting to close down a little bit. I think Gordon Hayward has to, and he plays defense. He's not like the craziest best defender, but he plays solid defense. Yeah, I think it's LaMelo Ball, it's Terry Rozier, it's Cody Martin, it's Gordon Hayward, it's PJ Washington.
Yeah, you need with PJ, not as good of a rim protector as a Mark Williams, assuming what his skill set, his strength is going to be. But PJ offensively is awesome. We know how, as far as a shooting big, right? Yeah, it's clearly lacking in some areas, but can shoot. And you know how much I think of his defense. So being the closing big, also that's their best lineup, right? Closing lineup is going to be your best lineup. The plus minus with PJ at the 5, all the lineups with him playing center have been positive. They have been their best lineups. So PJ at the 5 probably is easy. LaMelo at 1, Terry at 2, Gordon in there somewhere, whether it be 3 or 4. Cody is the one that's the most debatable. You get into a Kelly Oubre, a Jalen McDaniels, who would be taking over that spot. I think you're probably right with Cody, despite me thinking the 3-point shooting could take a step back this year for Cody. You don't want to sacrifice all of your defense in your closing lineups. And so if you need offense badly, so let's say you're down 10 with a couple minutes, you might go Kelly just to see if he can catch fire.
And same thing at the center position, right? PJ Washington, if you're trying to defend the lead, you might go with like Mark Williams or something to defend the paint.
But if they go small, you got to go PJ. So I think PJ probably, But
this makes the most sense for all situations. Now, you're getting ahead because we got a lot of lineups to talk about over the next couple of weeks, like the Bucket Brigade. Kelly Oubre, Bucket Brigade special. Like he's going to be in the Bucket Brigade when they need some offense. So, but I think
so tie ball game, 2 minutes to go. Right. So, tie ball game, 2 minutes to go. You're starting 0-0, essentially. This is the lineup you want. I think that's probably right.
Well, and I would
that's
say
where Steve Clifford would go.
Yeah, and I would say more than that, more than situationally at the 2 minute mark, I would say this will eventually be, not probably night one, but eventually be the closing lineup that comes in, that works its way in around the 7-8 minute mark of the fourth quarter. That's to me, this is where it settles in. And maybe again, later on in the season, if Mark Williams starts to, then you shift down and say Mark Williams, PJ Washington, unless they go small, Gordon Hayward, and then you've got a debate between Terry Rozier and Cody Martin.
Yeah,
there you go.
I think that's the always be, ABC, the always be closing lineup. Unfortunately, none of those younger guys we can see. Definitely not in the closing lineup. JT Thor, you have getting some minutes there. With
they're ABD, always be developing.
It's true.
ABG, always be G League.
In Greensboro, always.
That's good too. Always be Greensboro.
Always be Greensboro. All right, coming up next.
Don't go to sleep on the Hornets just yet.
Doug gave his win-loss projections for a few games, I need to catch up. I need to give you guys my ideas on what I think the Hornets could do the first 3 games of the season, and then we will continue on throughout the 82-game schedule. That's coming up next on the Locked On Hornets podcast.
Is Locked On Hornets.
They're running their rookies to Greensboro. They're driving them to Greensboro and then driving them back the same day to play in an NBA game. I cannot wait until the Hornets load manage.
It's time for more of the Locked On Hornets podcast.
All right, we went to Doug's spreadsheet in the last segment. Now we're just going to the straight-up Hornets regular season schedule where Doug is making it his coloring book. He's going to be drawing all over this thing. You didn't save your last markings, though, so let's go back, recap what you did the first 3 games. I'll give you my thoughts on how the Hornets will start the season, and then maybe we'll explore a few other games, maybe try to get through October.
Yeah, I have to, real quickly, I have to, draw in some sections here. I don't know why it keeps wanting me to paste. There we go. Stop it. All right. So I'm going to draw in some, let's see if I got to draw you, because I want to make sure we have some space here for both of our win-loss projections. And I got to go. You're
drawing me, and then you're drawing yourself.
Well, I just drew myself. That's me with the long hair. There you go.
I didn't know that was long hair. Where's your chin?
Oh, well, I mean, fill it out there. There's me.
All right. There you go.
All right. So, there's your eye. I'm not going to do eyeballs. You're all eyebrows. And then you got some spiky, you kind of got spiky short hair, and you have the chiseled chin, my friend.
Oh yeah. Go ahead and give me that butt chin there.
You get the Brock from Pokemon chin there. So there's you, there's me. And we've got Wednesday, October 19th at San Antonio. I'm gonna be teal for wins. You'll be purple for wins. I went win against San Antonio, and I went win against New Orleans. I went win against Atlanta. 3-0 start for the Charlotte Hornets. Yeah. Where do you land?
So I think the opener against San Antonio, they're in tank mode. They traded DeJounte Murray for a lot of first-round picks. I think that's a great matchup to start the season for them, even in San Antonio. I'll go with the win. The Hornets start off 1-0. Yeah.
Boom.
Give me the 1-0 start for them. Yep, 1-0 to start for sure.
Second
and then
game.
New Orleans,
home
second
opener.
game. At home against New Orleans. Zion is going to play, by the way. So Shams Charania put out there that the Pelicans opener, I forget who, I think it's against the Nets, maybe even in Brooklyn, but they do expect Zion to play in that game. So you would assume he'll play in the second game. I actually have them losing their home opener. I hate to say it, but I have them starting 1-0, and then I think they'll lose the home opener against New Orleans. And then against Atlanta, on the road, I don't know if the box score from last year is going to be up there, like they put the Pacers box score from the first play-in game that they lost by 20. I do think this is going to be some semblance of a revenge game. DeJounte, Trey Murray still trying to fill each other out on the court a little bit. You still have to try to figure out how to play with one another. You remember you have the John Collins drama. Is he going to get traded? Is he not? Give me a dub. So they win against San Antonio. They lose against New Orleans, and then they go back on the road, and they actually beat the Hawks in Atlanta to get off to a 2-1 start. Not as good as your 3-0 start, but 2-1 still pretty good.
Yeah, start of a 3-game road trip here at Atlanta, then at New York, then at Orlando. So here's where the rubber meets the road, Walker. I've got them at 3-0. That would tie their best start in franchise history with last season. And now, do they get to 4-0? Best start in franchise history against the New York Knicks, the team that was involved in that first round trade Rooney that I hated. Yeah, I'm going to say W for the Hornets. Best start in franchise history, 4-0. What do you got?
This one's tough. I'm going to say they win.
Oh, wow, 3-1. You know, for somebody that has projected them into the mid-30s, you've got them off to a pretty good start.
I do.
All right.
And in fact, yeah, I do. I've got them beating New York on the road.
And so 2-0 on the road. I've got them at 4-0. Friday, October 28th at Orlando, Steve Clifford's old team. He's going to have some juice there. He's going to want to get a little revenge against the old team that dumped him after he dragged them into the playoffs. I'm going to go dub 5-0 start for the Hornets.
5-0 for Doug Branson. We're off to an excellent start. Only
you got them
adding
at 3-1. I mean, they're pretty good.
I know. I think this is the time where we're starting to feel good about the Hornets. Okay, 3-1. Who would have thought, especially with everything that took place this offseason, maybe the Hornets can actually contend for that play-in and even more. And what happens when we play Orlando when we're feeling good, Doug? What usually happens? We usually lay an egg.
That's going to be an L. All right.
That's going to be an L. Yeah,
3-2
I'm going to go 3-2.
3-2 for Walker. I've got them at 5-0 right now. All right, Saturday, October 29th, Golden State at home. It's a home game. I get it. Golden State, powerhouse, coming off that championship win. I understand all of that. They didn't win the Kevin Durant sweepstakes this time, so they don't add Kevin Durant. Nobody does. Don't get me started on that whole debacle. Thanks for the content,
you need some
Kevin.
FaceTime?
No, I don't want any FaceTime. Kevin wants some FaceTime. Kyrie wants FaceTime. So fine. They're still in Brooklyn. I'm just glad that Kevin didn't go to another Eastern Conference team. It's like stay in Brooklyn because I don't think that's going to turn into anything. But if he had gone, if he'd gone to Boston, if he had gone to Miami, it was just going to make the Hornets' road tougher to hoe. So I'm glad that they didn't. All right. Anyway, Golden State Saturday, October 29th, 7:00 home game. Golden State championship. This would be a loss, I think, if this game were to happen, maybe in December or January. But I think the Hornets' high-octane offense is going to jump on a lot of these good teams. Golden State, surprise, upset. Give me the dub.
Oh, 6-0 for the Hornets. What a great start. Can you scroll down? So you said it might be a loss if they played Golden State in December or January. When do they play Golden State again?
They do play December at Golden State, Tuesday, December 27th, right after Christmas, 10:00 p.m. That's a fake national TV game on NBA TV. But I'm not going to reveal if that's – I said it might be a loss. I will not reveal whether I think it's win-loss. We'll have to wait until we see how they – you got to look at trends. You got to look and see how many games they've won previously. A lot factors into these predictions.
Yeah, things could change when we do choose that game. All right.
Let's finish out October. Real quick.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll let you finish out with Sacramento. What's your prediction for the Kings?
Halloween, Monday, October 31st. Things are going to get spooky against Sacramento. At home in the Queen City, Sacramento, they made some trades. It's fine. They got a nice draft pick. 7:00 p.m. home game. Give them the dub on Halloween. Getting spooky.
So through 7 games of the Charlotte Hornets season, you have them as the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference because they quite literally can't be beaten. So the Hornets would be number 1 unless there's some tiebreakers involved. That's excellent stuff. I'm excited for this.
ABW, always be winning.
Yeah, that's what the Hornets are. All right, for Golden State, I think they're going to lose against the Warriors. They're a pretty good basketball team even still after the championship. But the next game on Halloween at home, I'll give them victory for that one against the Sacramento Kings. Even with the Kings maybe being a little improved this year, still going to give the Hornets the victory. And so you have them at 7-0. I have them at 4-3 to go into November, where we'll pick it up in the next. And the first game in November will actually be on ESPN. It will be the Ball reunion. Hopefully Lonzo can play. And then we'll see Lonzo and LaMelo face off against one another November 2nd at Chicago. You feeling good? 7-0? You like your start?
The Hornets are feeling good.
Far?
They're 7-0 right now. They're probably, that's got to be good enough for top of the Eastern Conference, right? Doesn't get any better.
7-0, yeah. It could be. Maybe I'm sure there would be some weird rule that would have the Hornets as the 4th seed. Maybe 5th, because they're not going to get home court advantage in the playoffs, so they would get the 4th seed. All right, thanks for making Locked On Hornets your first listen every day. Your second listen, remember, get up to date on the latest news and rumors in the NBA in just 30 minutes every single day with Locked On NBA. Locked On NBA, it's your daily NBA update in just 30 minutes. Have a great weekend. We'll be back with you on Monday.